Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to This Is Us, a talk show where we talk about various topics. Now, today we have a very special episode, which is entitled Girls Talk, Who Runs the World? We have an all-female panel in which I have three beautiful sisters here with me. First, we have my sister Esther from Stitched by Esther. Hi, Esther.
Hello.
We then have my blood sister Ngozi from Mums on a Mission. You should remember her from our episode, Raising Children in the 21st Century. Hi, Ngozi.
Hi.
And then we have G Bizzle, my sister from the This Is Us family. Hi, G.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
And my name is Dee, and I'm your host this evening. Do subscribe to this channel, which is 2HBTV, and hit the notification bell while you are watching. Tonight, my sisters and I will be having a conversation based around various issues we come across as women. Please feel free to leave comments and ask questions below. Both men and women are welcome to this conversation. Now, there's my intro. Let me just relax, and I'm now good to go. So we're all mothers here, all four of us. At one point, we were young girls. We were young ladies, growing and developing and just being inquisitive with the world around us. So I'm just going to throw this question to Esther. Esther, how prepared were you when it came to puberty?
Not prepared at all. At all. I wasn't told anything. I was in boarding school when I started my puberty sort of age. So I had to learn from the girls around me, but it was quite sudden. So I wasn't prepared at all in terms of what to do when you have your monthlies or when your breasts are growing, those sort of things. I didn't have that discussion with my mum or my sisters or my auntie. So for me, it was pretty much learn as you go. So I wasn't prepared at all.
Okay, so you didn't have much conversation with your parents, your mum?
No, nothing
okay.
at all.
G, was yours similar or was yours any different in regards to learning about puberty?
Nobody told me anything until a breast sprouted. And up until then, I was such a tomboy that I actually, this is going to sound so odd, but don't worry, guys, I am a woman. Up until a breast turned up, I thought I was going to become a boy. I was such a tomboy. I did all boy stuff. I wore clothes like a boy, and I was just waiting for, to grow up into a man. So when a breast turned up, I didn't understand what was going on. It was bloody painful, I must say.
Yeah.
And I had just one for ages. So that meant I got bullied by the neighborhood kids and whoever else, because I looked like a boy, but then I had this one breast. So it was all very confusing. I don't remember anyone saying anything to me at all about that. But I think someone did mention at some point, I know it wasn't any of my parents or anything. It's probably some sort of close relative that did say the other breast would turn up eventually, and they're not meant to be the same size, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't think anybody said anything about periods or anything until my period turned up.
Yeah.
And the only person around when that happened was my dad. And I told him, I said, I'm bleeding, but I haven't hurt myself. And he's just like, okay. And then I don't know where he went. He panicked a little bit. And then he came back with, I believe it was a sanitary pad, but it looked like a small loaf of bread. That's how thick it was. And he just said, just put it in your knickers or something. And until I think an aunt or my stepmom or someone turned up. So nobody told me anything about anything. And then I think eventually someone said, oh yeah, the bleeding happens every month, but that's about it. That was it.
Yeah. I think me personally, I think mine sort of falls in the same bracket as the two of you, but fortunately for me, I have older sisters who were going through the same journey as well. So I did have some form of insight, but I don't think it was enough. And I'm going to ask my sister, Ngozi, what was it like for you in regards to puberty? Did you have any support, any conversations in regards to puberty for yourself?
Well, number one, Daddy didn't say anything. My mom.
Daddy's not the one to say anything.
No, but then the day my period came, because then my mom used to wash our hair for us at that age. She was still washing our hair, and she was about to wash my hair, and suddenly I saw a treacle coming out, and she saw it too. So she shut the door, and she came in, and she started talking about, okay, when this happens, this is what you use. And that was about it, really. Nothing about what it means, what it implicates if other stuff happens. What do you do? The different types of sanitary towels out there, nothing like that. And then it came to my daughter, and there's just so much out there. You know, the school was educating us already. The school had called us in to come to, it was like a biology lesson with my daughter, her friends, and the parents, and all these giggling 9-10-year-olds giggling away. You talk about it, everything is like funny, and they're giggling in the class, and we're trying to be like, okay, this is serious, you know. But that was a good thing for me, because when my mom wasn't able to tell me the way I would have liked to know, with the new and with me educating myself, and also with, you know, everything the school did in terms of educating the children, it helped my journey with my daughter. So for instance, we both learned that actually before the day I can prepare her. So prepare her by having, you know, a little pouch in the bathroom. She knows exactly what's in that pouch. She knows exactly when that day happens, what to do. You know, unlike my situation when it happened and my mom just shut the door like, hey, okay, this has happened. All you have to do is make sure you put your sanitary towel on. That was it. But with my daughter, there's definitely been some education there. With regards to breast, we are very big busted in my family. And my mom, I don't know if you people remember Benny D's of those days. I don't know if you remember Benny D's, but it was an underwear store where they only sold nude and whites and blacks, no other color.
No other color.
My mom loved the nudes and the whites. They were so ugly. They were so ugly, you know. And I remember my sister saying to me, as soon as we get our first jobs, we're gonna open a bra shop. As soon as we get our first jobs. And I remember getting my first job, and she got her first job, and literally every single penny we got, we were part of the people that invested with Bravissimo. We started buying from them. And from the moment we started working, forget all that talk that my mom had. Oh, here's my little son.
Hello.
Being a mom doesn't stop. So hey, here he is. Anyway, so the journey for me in terms of, you know, puberty, yes, the education from my parents weren't really there, but I think I've learned enough now to be able to pass on to my children.
That was going to be my next question in regards to how do we prepare our young ladies. I will move on to our sons as well, because I'm aware that G and Esther both have boys. But how do we prepare our young ladies? And me personally, my daughter, she's got a box. We did initially start filling up the box with treats as well. So we'll have the sanitary stuff, and we know that we like to binge with chocolates and sweets, and there'll be something in there to sort of help her relax the mood, a bit of hot chocolate as well. But as time's gone on, we've sort of seen this has been years since she started, that's sort of gone downhill. But it was just to prepare her for puberty, as well as just talking about the there was even a book. It was an All About Me book that we gave it to her to read, and then said to her to come back to us and would have a conversation. They also have the boys' version as well.
Yeah, I've got the boys'
where
version.
it talks about the different parts of the the different things that they will go through. And the school played a huge part as well in regards to educating the children. But I do believe when it comes to puberty, it should be from home. But I'm going to throw this one to Esther and G. How did you approach G, your son's still very young, but Esther, how did you approach the conversation with your boys?
Well, fortunately for the boys, they were in year 6 when we had the first lockdown. So they missed out on this, you know, when the school would talk to them about the change, you know, is it sex education? I can't remember what it's called now. So they missed on that. They missed out on that completely. So the school didn't really provide us with anything whatsoever. We did ask, but lockdown and all that. So what we did, we got books. So we get the boys' books to read. I read some with the boys, but they were like, what's this all about? They weren't really informed that much. And to my sort of like naivety, maybe I should say, I just felt like I'll leave it because they still don't understand certain things yet. They know certain things will happen at a certain stage, like, you know, the hair and all that sort of stuff. They knew that bit, which you talked about. But then the latter stage in terms of, you know, what boys go through, I haven't discussed those intricate details yet.
Yeah.
You know, like the wet dream, is it wet dreams I have or something?
Wet
I can't,
dream.
yeah, those things. I haven't yet discussed it
You
because I feel
you've got that coming.
it's
No,
coming.
I'm
It's
laughing.
coming. It's
No,
coming.
I'm laughing because I'm dealing with bedwetting, not wet dreams. So I'm okay.
So I've dealt with the puberty, you know, the armpit hair, you know, your body's changing, you know, their voice is changing slightly now. So all those things I've told them about why it changes and all that sort of thing, and make sure they keep themselves clean because they now begin to sweat a lot more now and smell like boys. That smell, and they're very sporty, so they're always having that smell. So okay, you have to have a shower, and when you shower, you wash the nooks and crannies properly. Deodorant, spray, and they say, "Mommy, do it too much. You always spray into it." I said, "Because you don't spray enough." I'm a bit obsessed with smell, so I'm always spraying the armpits. But yeah, they're used to that. But in terms of the other stages, I've yet to discuss.
Yeah,
that's the truth. But they've got the book. They've got the book, which they have read, but I think they've dumped it something because they're thinking, "What's this, Mum?" Start laughing, thinking it's silly. And I've really, to be honest, I haven't looked at it since, and that's the honest truth. But I need to.
I have to say, Esther's mentioned the book. I do recommend. I know you're, as I said, your boy's still very young. I do recommend the book. I will send you a link in regards to the book.
Oh yes, please. I will be reading all the books.
It is a
good book. It's a good book. I'll send my one as well, G. It's a good book.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Mother, you've got a boy and a girl. Was it any different between the two?
Of course there are differences, and it's funny we're talking about this because just today my husband and my son were going to football, and on the way back they will have their man-to-man discussion. What my son doesn't know is when my husband gets home, he'll come and have that discussion with me and discuss what was said. And today we've just noticed that, oh my God, the smell, Esther, that you were talking about, it's horrible. That whole morning, the smell that's coming from the young boys now, I'm like, oh God, you have to shower, you have to make sure you clean yourself, you know. And he was discussing about, you know, shaving his pubic hair. His hair down there, and my husband was saying, "Don't worry, I'll show you the first one." And I thought he would never have that conversation with me, because me saying to him, "I'll come in the bathroom and I'll shave you down," and he'll be like, "No, Mom, no, you can't do that." This is where, you know, having both parents is there. I mean, I know it's difficult when you're a single parent and you have to wear the hat of mom and dad. Yeah. But when the two parents are there, you know, this is where the education come in from both parties. And I'm fortunate that I am in the relationship where both of us are here. So when it comes to the boy stuff, I leave it to the dad. I just go to him and I'll say, you need to talk to your son. You need to go and be telling him about girls, because yes, we have discovered girls. You need to tell him about, you know, looking after himself, you know, because you meet girls, you have to smell nice for the girls.
Of course.
If you smell nice and you look good, you feel good. So those kind of things, you know, I've left that to his dad. His dad can teach him that. I mean, I will say something. If he walks past me and I smell the whiff, I'll say,
whiff.
Get in the shower.
That whiff.
I would say, get in the shower, you know. But there are differences with the girls, you know, obviously, because I'm a woman, so there are things that I would naturally just say to my daughter without thinking, you know. When it comes to the period thing, we had a little pouch, so we were ready. I've not really broached the subject about boys, but I think we've watched enough programs between me and her where that discussion comes up, and then we'll talk about a topic. And then we will go away with that, you know. Okay.
That sort of brings me on to my, that sort of brings me on to my next question, which is all about women's sexual and reproductive health. How educated are we, or were we as young ladies, in regards to having an understanding in regards to our sexual, it's not even our sexuality, our sexuality, our sexual and the reproductive system. We all started puberty, we started our period, but did we really have an understanding in regards to what our body could do thereafter? G, I'm going to sort of ask you about that question.
Why me first? You're
on my screen.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. What was the question? I was in the middle of a burp.
Okay, so the question is, sorry.
Yeah.
The question about women's sexual and
Yes,
reproductive health.
yeah.
How aware were you as a young lady?
At all. I just told you up until the first breath, I thought I was going to transition into a beautiful butterfly of a boy. I had no idea. I think for a long time, I didn't even really know the difference between boys and girls. I honestly didn't know. I knew boys were rude and mean, and I beat them all up, which was fine. But apart from that, and I knew girls like dresses and hair, which I didn't like. But I didn't get any sort of education on anything at all. And I think maybe when we did biology at school, in secondary school, maybe that's probably the first time I was like, okay, the bodies are different, because obviously you always see, what in the diagrams, the men's bodies are different to the girls or whatever. But I had no idea what the woman's body could do, up until I'm sure my early teens. I was convinced you bought babies, you literally go and pay at the hospital and they give you a baby.
If only.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea. And I think the period thing, because I remember I used to say to my sister every time she annoyed me, I'll tell her that I was going to take her back to the hospital we bought her from and ask for the money back. I think it was 10 naira or something. I say that to her all the time. And then at some point I thought women, when you give birth, because it seems okay, I noticed pregnant women, I had no idea how the baby got there. And I assumed that they just went to go have a big poo and the baby came out with the poo. That's the other, because I'm like, where's this baby coming out of, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So nobody said anything, but to be fair, my childhood was a very displaced one. So I wasn't in one place for a very long time. And the first time I was sort of like in a stable place for a long period of time was when I started secondary school, by which time I think a lot of stuff I should have known, I didn't know. So, you know how sometimes you kind of have to not pretend you knew it already, but not make a big deal about the fact that you're just finding something out, because you don't want people to look at you like you don't know anything, sort of thing. So, and you're trying to adjust in a new school and try and make friends and whatever. But I didn't really know that much. And to be fair, even at my big age, I'm still learning every day about different things that happen. But I'm always trying to get knowledge about things like that. And if I read a book that's really good, as Dee would say, would know, I would recommend it about this. I mean, I think I recently recommended something about egg quality and stuff like that. And I've recommended to so many people because someone recommended it to me, but I didn't even know that was a thing that you as a woman can influence, especially when it comes to fertility and things like that. Because there's just so much that it's not taught at all. I don't think there's anything about sexual reproduction, whatever, that I learned in school, apart from the sperm goes into the egg. How the sperm gets there, I don't know.
You don't know.
I had no idea.
I put my hand up. I do remember having a lesson about condoms, but I never quite understood why or what the process, or it was in secondary school. It was just, I just remember them splitting us into groups, and then I had the group to learn about, it was just condoms. And I was just like, I was very, how would I put it? I grew up being the one that didn't understand, whereas I was around a lot of girls. I went to a girls' school who understood everything. So they sort of were the ones that educated me as I was growing up. So I had friends when I was in secondary school who was already sexually active when I was at secondary school. So for me, it's just learning through those around me. It was never something that came from home. I'm pretty sure when I told my mum I was having a baby, she was probably thinking, really? Like, I don't know. I just don't think she thought I was sexually active. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you touched on something, G, in regards to fertility. Now, we know that women of color are twice as likely to have infertility issues, and we are less likely to seek out care and treatment and support. And that when we are struggling through the fertility process, we really just don't reach out. So we know that there are, because I know as somebody that I suffer from what we call polycystic ovary syndrome. So for me, things like conceiving, it has been difficult. And that's because I've got lots of cysts around my ovaries. But from me reaching out and talking, as I'm talking now, I've come across others that suffer the same thing. G, what's your views in regards to us not speaking out?
I think it's majority what do you call it? Culture thing. That's what I think. I've never been in a conversation where I'm sat with a bunch of women and we're talking about fertility issues. We as a culture tend to talk about, oh, we're still waiting on God. God will do it, which he will in his time. But like like especially when you get married and you get asked, oh, the baby, it's not, people are just like, oh yeah, we're just waiting, we're taking our time. They never say exactly if there's a problem or there isn't. And I remember once, a few years ago, I went to a party and one girl, I didn't know her very well, but just flippantly just said, oh, why are you still waiting? Why have you not had a kid yet? And I just looked at her dead in the eye, and she made some other jokes that were funny to her. And I just responded with, because I've been trying and I had a miscarriage. And that kind of shut her down completely. She didn't know what to say after that. But I had to quickly add that it's fine, I can talk about it. Because the minute you mention that word, everyone's sort of like, okay, it's like everyone's like clenching their bums, like, okay, just say something. So I don't have a problem talking about it. And it's just something that I think the culture just doesn't allow. It's the same way, you know how they say, okay, when you're pregnant, you shouldn't tell people until it's 3 months later or whatever. A miscarriage can happen at any time. It could be after 3 months when you've told everybody you're pregnant and you lose the baby. That happens. And in my case, because I recently had a miscarriage a few weeks ago and I was over 3 months. And for me, the fact that I'd actually mentioned it to a few people beforehand meant that when it did happen, the amount of support I got is what brought me out of that grief and that pain and that heartbreak. Like, as soon as I knew I was going to hospital, I called people, I text people, and they just rallied around me. Like, I can't even I've thanked all of them, but I can't thank them enough. And I don't think I would be as okay as I am 3 weeks later if I didn't have that support. And the kind of person I am, I have no problem talking about a problem, because then me talking about it means I'm going to get the support and help I need. I don't know how to internalize stuff. And I've mentioned it on the show before in the previous episode, I've had a mini mental breakdown before because I was holding so much in and I wasn't talking. And as most people know as well, I'm in therapy. So that just talking about stuff just opens up so many avenues for you to learn how to deal with things and to know that you're not alone. So to answer your question, I do think it's a culture problem and it's a tradition. We just don't talk about stuff like that. And the number of people that shared their miscarriage stories with me after my recent one, even people I work with that I told, and these are like much older women that are sharing like their coping strategies, what they did, and that the other, I mean, I know people that have had miscarriages at 5 months, at 7 months, stillbirths, things like that. And it's just from me sharing how I am or what I went through for other people to share. And I think more people just need to talk about it and not sugarcoat it with, oh, we're waiting for God, because you just don't know who you're going to help by talking. So I think we just need to talk a lot more and stop being so superstitious in our culture. We're quite superstitious, like, oh, if I talk about it, I'll jinx it. What's going to be yours is going to be yours, regardless of if you talk about it or if you don't talk about it.
Thank you for that response, G. Esther, I'm just going to ask you, why do we in our community I know G just said she thinks it's a culture, tradition kind of thing, but I want your views. Why do you think in our community we tend to keep things to ourselves?
Like G said, it's a cultural thing, and that we have a habit of keeping things a secret too much as well. We don't want to share. And also like what G said, when you mention something like a miscarriage or you have this problem, we all tend to go, should we say something or should we not? Because we don't want to be too, because people think I'm too forward. They say, oh, she's Oyibo, she's got this Oyibo life, so she's too forward. Because a lot of Nigerians, they like to keep things secret or like to keep things between, among the family. Or if you're pregnant, you can say that somebody's pregnant, they'll say, I said, well, congratulations, because I'm not pregnant. But you know they're pregnant.
Yeah.
Why are you hiding you're pregnant? And then I see you 3 months down the line, you're giving birth and you're inviting me to your naming ceremony. But I saw you 3 months ago and you're pregnant. So why are you, like what G said, about hiding it or superstitious about, me telling you that I'm pregnant, something might happen
Mhm.
to you. Like what G said, what's yours is going to be yours regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was pregnant, people said, well, why are you telling people you're pregnant? Why telling people? I didn't tell people that I was
Because
having
you
twins.
are.
I didn't tell people I was having twins, but that one, not because I was suspicious, because I wanted to, because I was still in shock, first of all, that I was having
Yeah.
twins. So that was that became a shock. I had to process that in my head first, then my
Yeah.
husband, because when we found out we were having twins, we were both in shock for a very long time. So I had to process that, and I thought, I'm going to surprise everybody. I'm also a prankster, so people thought I was joking anyway. So you having twins? No, you're lying, Esther. I said, okay, no worries. When it comes, you'll see it. So they didn't believe me. So when I had my naming ceremony, my house was packed. It was like, actually, you had twins? I said, yes, I had twins. So that wasn't, I didn't keep a secret because I didn't want anybody to know I was having twins. It's just because I wanted to prank people, and also because I was trying to deal with the fact that I'm going to be buying a double buggy, double everything. So for me, I was still in shock. I need to process that in my head first. But in terms of keeping things secret, I don't know why we do it. I'm quite open. I talk a lot. I share a lot about myself. But a lot of people don't like that. They'll say, shh, why are you sharing? Keep quiet. Don't. So I don't, with my other friends, let's say not Nigerian friends, I share more with them than my Nigerian friends, you understand? Because they're more open. My Nigerian friends or African friends, shall I say, I limit to what I say because they'll say I'm sharing too much, or you know, you're over sad, or you know, that sort of thing they say. I don't know, but so it depends on who I'm talking to and who I'm talking with that I share. But
I think that's sort of one of our biggest problems, because I remember talking to a friend of mine and just saying to her, I've suffered a miscarriage, and she was like, oh, I have too. And for me, it's that whole
amazing,
and why did you need me to speak first before you open up? We should be free and open to talk about. I know we can talk about.
I think it's how we've been raised. I think it's how we've been raised and what we see around us as well. I think we learn from what we see around us. Like we're saying about our kids. I mean, Ngozi said about her daughter. She sees you're a woman. She's going to be growing to. She can see. She learns from you. She leads from examples. So what we show our kids and what we show people around us. So it's how we're raised. How we were raised. We're very secretive. In my family, we stays in the family. Simple as that. So we learn to live with that. We grew up thinking that way. So as now we're living in this 21st century, we're trying to change the way we were brought up, and it's quite hard. I'm finding it quite hard to adjust to being the modern mum. I still think about how I was raised, quite strict background and very sheltered. I mean, my puberty started when I was about 16. I was late to be a woman, so to speak. So I had nobody to share it with. So where I was raised, I'm trying to make sure that I don't raise my kids the same way. But it's hard because I still have to try and unlearn what I've learned. If you understand, so it can't happen overnight, it can't. It's something we have to try and learn.
There's a comment that we've just had come through, and I do like this comment where it says, we've been conditioned to not talk about stuff, which isn't great, but we need to sort of uncondition ourselves.
Yeah, that's it.
I really do like that.
To say, actually, when G was talking, I am sorry to hear what you said, G. You're not alone, you know. And I remember having my miscarriage at close to 6 months, and I was out there. Everybody was expecting a baby at the end of it, literally. So people that had seen me, this wasn't even a case of you've gotten to 3 months and, you know, you've gone past the stage where people would tell, oh, we're having a baby. Oh, it was obvious, you know. And getting to the 6 months, and then that happened, the amount of phone calls that we received, I was shocked. So many women reached out, you know, don't worry, it's happened to me. Don't worry, it's happened to me. Oh, it's happened to me. Oh, and I was like, really? But you never said, oh, well, it was just something we just didn't talk about. It was just something we didn't talk about. So I feel you when you were saying, G, that, you know, it's definitely a culture thing, definitely. Because my English counterparts easily, they talk about, you know, each thing they're going through. My colleagues in the office will say, oh, you know, I went for my scan the other day. Oh, this is what I saw. And they say it without even, it's almost like they're built with this.
They will tell you their due dates.
Exactly.
From the beginning.
Like we are kind of living with a superstitious mind. If we don't talk, nothing
we can't even tell people what dates we're going to Nigeria.
That's right. They'll
say,
I'm going next week. Which day? You know, next week. But they're going tomorrow.
Sometimes.
It's just the way we've been. I think it's the way we've been raised. Unfortunately, it's a habit that we've picked up, and we know we're doing it. We're like, okay, Actually, I'm going tomorrow. Sorry, pick yourself up again. It's just how we've been raised. I
I
think
just
it's
say,
just odd.
I'm going on so dates. No, I cannot take anything for you. I don't take things for
Yeah.
people. Unless it's a
Simple.
document, as in paper. I can't carry anything for you. I'm sorry. But, you know, and the other thing I wanted to add was, before it leaves my mind, because, you know, old age, I think as part of the fertility or sexual health or sexual education process, miscarriage needs to be talked about.
That's right.
Fertility, in terms of people, I think everybody knows about the women's what do you call it, body clock name, what do they call it?
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
That one, it needs to, like, egg quality and things you can, like, taking supplements and you know,
right.
things you should be doing before you even start trying for a baby. Because I was reading something that education system, especially when it comes to women's health, is more geared towards how to avoid getting pregnant. You don't see anything about how to get pregnant, because it's only when you're trying and you're not getting pregnant, especially when you start, because I did not know anything about miscarriage until I had my first one. I knew nothing about it. I knew people lost babies, but I honestly, Jen, I'm thinking now, I honestly don't think I'd ever heard about it until I had one. So when the doctors, when you're there and the doctor's saying, I'm sorry, you've had a miscarriage, I'm like, what? And then the baby's gone. I was like, that's when my brain was like, oh my goodness, I've heard this word before, but I actually didn't know what it meant. And I think it should be part of the sexual education or fertility or women's health. I like to call it women's health in terms of what your body does and why it happens and this, that, the other. So
even explanation on things like complications, sort of what can happen, like even down to mental health. How do they support you to deal with things as well? I think that's something that we lack. As G said, they focus a lot on how not to get pregnant. But the support is really needed for those that would like to get pregnant, that would like to have children. And that's something that it really does need.
And the stigma around it as well shouldn't be there, because a lot of stigma around fertility, you know, going through IVF or going through all the sort of things that you can just do to get children. There's a big stigma about it. So that too needs to be addressed as well. A lot of people are not, they're too scared to talk about going through IVF or going through whatever process it is to get pregnant. A lot of people don't talk about it as well. That stigma is too much as well. That needs to be removed as well.
I agree. So we've been talking about fertility, and one of the things that's come up from this conversation is the support. G's mentioned about how she was really supported by those close to her in regards to what's recently happened to her. We've all spoken about what the support we've received when something has happened. But recently I read an article, it's of something that happened a while ago in regards to a 19-year-old young lady who left to go and celebrate her birthday for I think 6 days, and her 20-month-old, she left a 20-month-old at home, and that 20-month-old was neglected and unfortunately died due to starvation. Now, I don't really want us to talk about the young lady, but I want us to really just focus on support as a woman. What was lacking there? Do we think she was supported, or just what sort of support could have been offered to her? That's sort of what I really want us to focus on today. So G or Esther, between the two of you?
I would say, I'd go first because I want to get over this as soon as possible. I would say, I have not read the story. I saw the headline, and the headline told me everything I needed to know about it. I don't like to read any stories that involve children and any sort of, I call it, abuse towards children of any sort. I just don't read them. It upsets me, so I just don't bother. And this was before I became a mom. It's just how I am. But all I would say is, and again, my mind has just gone back to the culture thing where, because I know this girl you're talking about, she was Black, right? So in my mind, the first thing I'm thinking about, especially when you relate it to a Nigerian setting, is like, you had the baby, so you take care of the baby yourself, that kind of thing, because she's quite young. And from my generation anyway, my age bracket, if you're that age and you have a child, there's still this whole blame thing that you went out and got yourself pregnant sort of thing. It's almost like the man doesn't even exist. The sperm just walked itself into your body and you got pregnant. You know, so there's that thing of, it's your problem, deal with it kind of thing. And if you knew you wanted to be going out, you shouldn't have got pregnant, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's where my mind has gone to. But at the same time, I didn't read the story, so I don't really want to comment on it. But that's my view, that maybe that's what happened. Or she could have been putting up, I don't want to say front, but making it seem like she was okay and she can do it. Because you know how sometimes young people are like, I'm going to show these people I can do it by myself. So she may have made it seem like she didn't need the support, because young people these days, they're not built like how we're built.
Yeah, they're not.
They're very like, no, I'm going to show you I'm a boss chick and all that stuff. So maybe it was that. I don't know.
She would have been about 17 when she gave birth to the child. And my one thing is, and I think I'm to G's just respond, this will go to Ngozi or Esther, society. Surely there must have been something in place to support her, something like maybe a social worker to check up, because she was a child who's had a child.
Yeah.
So do we not believe that there should have been support coming from society, like maybe a social worker or something like that? G, I'm not G, Esther or Ngozi. What's your views in regards to that?
Well, just as you were talking, I was just trying to read up a little bit about it. And I can see that her dad made the comment that she actually left home when she was 14.
Oh, wow.
So there were obviously, it's difficult to make comments on it because obviously there were issues there before. But I remember when this story came up, and I remember thinking to myself, she definitely had mental issues. It can't, there's no way, no matter what age you are, you would leave a baby at home for 6 days and not look back or think.
But they said it's not the first time she's done it as well. This is just the longest that she's done it.
It's so obvious that there were issues there. It's kind of a difficult situation to judge or to give an opinion on until we hear the whole story. But from the little that I do know, I know that she had left home at 14. So that's ringing bells to me that there were issues on that front. You know, she was out there, she was in the social care already. I think she was in the mum and teen baby
accommodation.
Oh, wow.
At the time, you know, so there were definitely issues there. Whether or not the social care picked up on it early enough, that's another issue. You know, but like I said, it's a difficult case to give an opinion on, but I know for a fact that there were mental, she can't have been in a right state at the time. She can't have been. She can't have been.
But then what sort of support would she have got from people like her friends? Because she wouldn't have been out there by herself. Her friends would have known that she had a child.
But her friends are her age. They're not thinking about babies. They're thinking about eyelashes.
Hair.
But I'm thinking though, but the 17-year-old girl of our days
is different.
Are different from 17-year-old girls from this day.
That's why I said at the beginning that you cannot compare the generations.
This story, I'm hearing from you guys about this story. I've not really followed it at all. But if you're saying she was in the mother baby care unit, she had support. The support would have been there, I presume. I know friends who gave birth when they were 16, 17 back in the days, and they had that. There was a social worker involved, and they were in this unit. So if she left the baby there, where was she? There's too much story. There's too much unknown for me to comment. To be honest. For me, I don't understand how, if she's done it before, why would she not look? Why would she not
watch closer?
You know, I just, for me, I can't comment on the story because for me, this gets me upset. There's no,
it's very upsetting.
As I said, I just wanted us just to really touch on.
There's too many gaps in the story for me to even comment because she's got the support, but then she went off for 6 days. Nobody questioned why. Nah, it's too much. Close for me.
Okay, so I'm just going to spend this moment now just to talk to our viewers. Thank you for tuning in this evening. If you can just subscribe and hit the notification button. Okay, today we have been just having a conversation about various topics. We've been talking about fertility, about puberty, the lack of knowledge we gained or we were given as we were growing up. But yes, as I said, if you can just hit the subscribe, hit the notification, and also join in with the chat. So make sure you're writing comments or asking questions. Feel free, if you've got any questions for any of us on the panel, we are here and ready to respond. But I am going to continue. Now I want us to sort of move over, because it is Girl Chat, to a topic that I'm sure, I'm looking at all of us, we've all touched on this topic, which is, why is it women are always trying to sort of we're always looking at our wigs. I'm trying to lose weight. I must look this way. I must look that way. Why is it that we are always, well, not always, but majority of the time, it always boils down to what we look like? Esther.
See, me, honestly, I think I've been the same weight for a long time. I don't use a scale,
Oh
honestly.
yeah,
I'm
stop
not
talking.
joking.
Stop,
you-
please.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish,
Please,
G.
stop
Let me
talking.
finish first. I haven't finished yet. Let me just talk for a minute. But until, see, I haven't finished. Until, I'll say the beginning of this year, I feel I've put on a bit of weight. But I don't know how to diet. I've never dieted in my life. I don't know how to diet at all.
D,
Never.
can you please move this
No,
woman?
she's asked me a question. No, that's not fair. Let me finish. You asked a question. Let me finish. I don't know how to diet. That's my problem. So I'm trying to. I know I've put on weight. I feel a bit, you know when you've put on weight, you feel you're closing up the tight and
Yes, us fatties, we know. Yes.
so. But I'm being, my husband's making comments here and there. Even the kids are saying something here and there. So I know, but I don't know how to diet. That's the problem. I don't know how to diet, so I wouldn't even know to start. So yeah, I'll leave you ladies to talk on it then. Since I've been told to keep quiet. You talk, ladies.
As someone who, over the last 2 years, has been trying, I've yo-yo to the point where I'm refusing to wear jeans at the moment. Why are we so conscious of our weight? Why? It's a woman's thing. Why is it that Esther said, up till this or last year?
But did you know me though? But did you know me? You've known me all these years. What do you think?
There are moments where you're like, the leggings on do feel tight, or that's just saying we all gain weight in different ways. We know, okay, me, as I said, all aware, plus size. At times I lose weight and you can see it. At times I've gained weight and you can see it. Everybody can gain either a small amount or a bigger amount, depending. But we all are conscious of what we look like.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something that us women generally go through. Esther, I'm leaving you there. Ngozi G, the floor is yours.
I think, this weight thing and women, it's an innate thing. Yeah. It's just something that we're just born with. But let me start by dissecting it let me dissect it by age.
Okay.
So in my teens, yes, I was skinny, slim.
She was hot dog.
My husband has a picture of me, Miss Mommy's on for a minute. And I was, skinny, but I didn't have to do much. I didn't even think about my diet then. I just lived, and then I got into my 20s. If I put on a little bit of weight, I knew exactly what to do to lose it. I would not eat. I would just, pick, and I was fine. Then you get into your 30s. Oh, you can't do that picking anymore. You have to diet. Understand what diet is. You have to fast. You have to start looking at your bodies. And then you turn 40. Hey, people will bring to you. When they write cards to you or they write messages, oh, welcome to the 4th floor. Oh, where everything is hunky-dory. I'm like, that's a bloody lie. It is not like that. When we turn 40, let me tell you people, it's almost like everything just goes on a standstill. Losing weight becomes a chore, It's like your body, suddenly your body, you want to lose weight. You have all the mindsets to do it. You try, but your metabolism slows down, starts to slow down. I don't know if there are any other 40-year-olds here, but this is what I am.
Esther, do you have COVID?
Sorry.
Do you have COVID?
I'm just coughing. Sorry.
Okay, just
continue, please. Sorry.
The metabolism slows down, and even just physically, the way you carry yourself, if you don't do continuous and consistent exercising, your body starts to seize. You find when you get up in the morning, you are adjusting. You weren't adjusting before now. You could get out of bed and you feel fine. Suddenly you're getting out of bed and you're like, okay, I've got to kind of adjust myself before I walk. What's that? What's that? So I'm like telling myself that anybody that I know that is turning 40, I'm going to be real with them. I'm going to be very real with them. I'm going to tell them, yes, welcome to the 4th floor. But my dear, just be mindful. Be mindful. Do your exercise, because when they're telling you, it's like they're just saying it, but they mean it. It's so important. I'm learning the hard way because things are not fitting the way that I want them to fit. Things that I used to wear before don't quite fit the way that we want it to fit, And then they say at 40, all your muscle mass, you're losing it. So to gain it, you've got to start weight training. It's not just going to the gym and doing cardiovascular. You've got to do weight training with that to build your muscle mass. I didn't understand all that one before, but I'm understanding now. So in terms of weight, in terms of female and weight, that's an innate thing. It's something that we're just born with and something that we think about throughout our life. And I don't think you get to an age where you don't think about your weight. I don't think you do. Why are you shaking your head?
My head is going like this. So.
I can't even control it. And I'll tell you what I'm shaking my head at. I'm shaking my head at the control thing you said. You can't control it.
Yeah.
In the words of Obama, yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to dwell too much on what Ngozi said, because most of it is true.
Yeah.
And I'm also over 40. And what I'll say is, okay, like you said, when you're in your 20s or whatever, so my thing is, it's definitely a DNA thing, right? So it's a genetics thing, first of all.
Yeah.
And then it depends on kind of like, because the body has something called muscle memory. So depending on what you used to do when you were younger is what will kind of carry you into your adulthood, so to speak. So if you were very active, very sporty and whatever, that's kind of like the way you're going to go. Like your body just remembers what to do or whatever. So for someone like me, I was an athlete when I was at school a little bit. And then when I came to this country at 16, I was very active. I was playing basketball, I was playing netball, and then I used to go to the gym. And gym for me was nothing to do with losing weight. Gym for me was for my mental health. I didn't even know mental health was a thing, but I knew when I was at the gym. To cut a long story short, the gym and working out was the only thing I could control in my life at the time. I didn't like food. I still don't like food. In terms of, I eat so I don't die. I eat because I'm hungry. I don't eat because, I like this. I don't have that. I think as of this week, my favorite food is plantain, but that could change tomorrow. So I don't eat because I like food. I eat so I don't die. And then up until when I was, I think, maybe 32 or maybe 31, I was a regular gym goer, like regular. It was part of my routine. Even my parents knew, like whenever they're coming, especially my dad, there was a time he was coming and he's like, oh, I'll get myself a cab to the house from the airport because I know you have to go to the gym. I had a routine because that was just my thing. It was my place where I go to, and I did lots of weight training. I started weight training when I was, I think, 16. I used to love lifting weights, and my arms torn up really quickly to the point where I stopped training my arms for a long time because they were too cut, if that makes sense. So there's that DNA and genetics part of it. And then I took a break from the gym. And before you knew it, it was 6-7 years. I hadn't done any exercise, by which time I broke a toe. All I did was walking. I broke my big toe, so I definitely couldn't exercise. And then I broke my knee. I definitely couldn't exercise. Then I slipped a disc in my back. I could and this was all because I decided to take a break and my body wasn't doing anything. So things were breaking. I was at a wedding yesterday, like I said yesterday, and I was getting out of the bed this morning and there was all these noises and my friend looked at me and said, "Is that your body?" I went, "Yep." But like they were just clack, 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 like God said, everything was adjusted, everything was going back to where it should be. Even now, my knees, if I've been sat down for very long, when I stand up, I have to pop my knees back in. But that one's because you know that thing where your joints move quite freely. I have one of those, so I have to be so careful when I get up that things don't pop out.
Oh wow.
But if I have to add anything to the age thing, the best advice I would give is nutrition. Nutrition is key. I have at least 2 books about nutrition, and it's all about knowing what your body, like you talk about metabolism, as you get older, certain things just don't agree with you. I'm lactose intolerant. So I know if I have a yogurt today, I might pay for it depending on what kind of yogurt I have. Or if you know that rice does certain things, so you kind of have to now, you can't just eat anything anymore because again, as you get older, your body just processes things a lot slower. And the third thing is supplements. You have to take the right supplements. I think I currently take 8 a day because there's so many things that your body just over time, it's tired. I mean, think about it. You've been in life over 40 years. That's a long time. So your body needs help. And yes, you have to do nutrition and exercise. I read something today. This lady said she started looking at exercise as her playtime. So that didn't make you feel like work anymore, because it's the same way you spend half an hour scrolling on your phone. You can spend half an hour jumping up and down to, I don't know, Gangnam Style or something. It doesn't have to be weights. It just depends on what you want to do. And when you see all these people that are in their 70s and 80s and can still wear spandex and look great, you're like, what do you, and they haven't had any surgery. They'll tell you they exercise every day or they eat a certain thing every day. So you just kind of have to know, what you're doing and pay more attention to your body. Okay, if I eat this thing, what does it do? If I do this, what does it do? So it's like the older you get, the more wise you get. You should also apply that to your body and what works for it, what doesn't work for it. I'm not the ideal weight I'd like to be now, but I think yesterday was the first time I realized I was actually very happy with my body and in equal parts amazed at what it's been through and what it looked like yesterday, like mentally and physically. And it's one of those things where you only have this one body unless you have money to go and pay for surgery. And you just have to work for it. I mean, I have friends that are super vain, that their vanity has helped them to look how they look now because they just can't. You see them staring at you when you're eating a sandwich, but they love how they look and the dresses they wear that they're like, So, and I used to sometimes wish I had a little bit of that vanity that would help me to, but as always, as women, we just go for the next size up and wear some big tent and be like, oh yeah, I'm happy with my body. At one point, I tried to even convince myself I was one of those happy fat people at my biggest, but I realized that I stopped meeting up with friends. I stopped going to events because, like you said, when people meet you, the first thing they'll say is, you've put on, no.
Yes.
You know our people, they don't know how to, they will now start grabbing your cheeks and doing this, or like poking at your what they call this thing, the spare tire, whatever. You're like, what is
love handles. Don't call that
handles.
Sorry.
Love handles.
I call it spare tire. But yeah, they start poking at that. You're like, what is it? So the culture and Instagram or social media, whatever, doesn't help either. But I'm one of those that I refuse to wear Spanx or those, what they call them, waist trainers, people that wear waist trainers out. I remember body magic was a thing. I can't. It's so uncomfortable. Why?
It is uncomfortable, but when you're looking for that look, and you're looking for, there are some outfits that you wear and you know that all you have to do is wear Spanx underneath to just get that look.
I know, but at the same time, I think because I believe more in a lifestyle, your body, and take care of a lifestyle.
Come on, Darale, as in, don't let it just fall. Just you have to.
I'm with you on that one.
You have
hold it tight. Suck it in.
Packaging.
Yes.
No.
That's it.
No.
It's a lot of work. As somebody that's not quite hit 40, I think I need to sort of start that engine and start sort of looking into all of those sort of, because already I can feel it. Throughout this lockdown, I've gained weight, lost weight.
Do you know the funny thing, Dee? Sometimes, right, when you go out and I look on your social media and I see the food, you put pictures up, I'm like,
I enjoy life. I can't lie.
I'm gonna say, Dee, you enjoy life.
I need to see the alcohol next to it. I cannot lie.
You enjoy life.
Alcohol is fine. I don't have a problem with alcohol.
No, alcohol adds to weight.
It does.
Every calorie.
No, it does. But imagine how much food are you having already? Then the alcohol is the icing. It's not the cake. You need to attack the cake, which is the food. But yeah, I'm always looking at people's plate. Like, what are you eating? You should eat this. You should eat that. You should eat. I'm always kind of like, healthy eating, but people like, I beg. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, me personally, I think I need to sort of get that engine started again. I think we've discussed a September challenge, sis. 30 miles in September. We're going to get the walking going. If you two ladies are willing to join us. Look at your faces. Esther's like, Nika, walk where?
I don't mind. I've got a treadmill. I bought myself a treadmill. My husband gave me a birthday present of a lot of cash to go to fancy spa, but there was a pandemic on, so I bought myself a fold-away treadmill, which, to be fair, I haven't looked at in 2 months, but I'm getting on there because
just need to start walking. I think I need to start my walking again.
You know, the best thing to do if you're walking on your own, the best music to listen to is Afrobeat. You walk longer than you plan to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You walk longer than you plan to.
Esther, are you okay?
She froze.
Is she frozen?
I think so.
I think so, because
Oh
okay,
no,
there she's back now.
Completely frozen.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
fine now. Oh, I think
Okay,
she's frozen
I am
again.
conscious of time, but I'm still going to throw in one more theme or question out there. Conscious of time. Are you back, Esther? You back with
I'm
us?
back. Sorry, guys.
Hey. I'm conscious of time, but I'm going to throw, so we will run a little bit over. But I just want us to talk about how we balance being a mother and a professional, or how we balance being a mother and everything else that we do. So, G and Ngozi, both accountant, chartered.
Okay.
How do you balance being professionals as well as mothers and the home, looking after the home?
We're
Ngozi?
super women. Super
You are?
women.
Yeah.
We're all, we've got superpowers. We can multitask. We can do all sorts. You can think and you can do. You can look at my son that just came in whilst I was on. If I wasn't a multitasker, I would have panicked and said, "Go away, well, mommy's on." But I just thought, you know what? Hey, I can do the two at the same time. But in all seriousness, there is a balance. It's all about balancing, isn't it? It's not easy, but I guess there is that gift that God and grace of God that we've all got as women, where we're able to handle multi things. You know, we can do different things. We're moms, we can run a home, we can work, you know, and I think all that is just something that God has just given us as women. That's me.
Yeah. G, did you want to add to that, or do you want to say anything on top of that?
I actually I like being busy. So I like having different roles. But I've also a few years ago said to my husband, I am ready to be a full-time housewife because I'm tired of working.
Yep.
So but you know, because there's other things I can do. There's no 9 to 5 that I can still be using my brain to do. But as Ngozi said, God created us a certain way so that we can handle it all. And I mean, I always say my first job is being a mom, and then my second job is my 9 to 5. Because you know, when you're leaving work, people are like, "Oh, have a good evening," or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to my first job now.
That's right.
Because, you know, and for me, I absolutely love it. I like both of them. I mean, I went back to work 3 months earlier than I should have because my brain, I could feel it turning into mush. So I like my brain to be challenged and to be doing stuff. And I don't mind both. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of courses I've signed myself up for this year. And I'm so conscious that it's August and I haven't gone as far as I want to for all of them. So I need to like reboot and, you know, aspire to other things and things like that. But yeah, I think women are built to, so a lot of women, I don't want to say all women, I don't want to speak for all women, but a lot of us are built to handle the two. I know a lot of women that complain about, oh, this, that, the other. I'm like, just, you can do it, you know, but sometimes you just kind of have to listen because not everybody is you, and, you know, but no, I absolutely love it. I have no complaints. And yeah, people are like, oh, but you only have one child. Yeah, I do, but I want another one, but I don't think it would, you know, because for me, it was just the only thing I knew I wanted to be was a mom. I didn't know about anything else. It's the only thing I knew I wanted to do. So everything else kind of comes second place. And
talking about that,
I can do it.
this same topic, this is going to Esther, because both G and Ngozi have said how they're super women. As much as they work, number one job or number one career is being a mum.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn this around now, because Esther, number one career was being a mum, because you put aside, you actually just said, I'm not working. I'm going to look after my home and look after my children till they get to a specific age. And I see now you've got that entrepreneurship going on with your Stitched by Esther. If you haven't
saying that though, G, I know what's that, but even though although I stopped working, I'm like what G said, anybody that knows me, I'm a busy person. You know me, D, I don't stay in one place. So even though I was at stay-at-home mum, I was busy. I was learning. I went back to college to study. I'm a governor in a boys' school. I'm part of the trustee. I do a lot of voluntary work. So I'm busy. So for the past 10 years or so I've been at home, I've been actually being busier than I was when I was working. And I chose to give up work because I had the twin boys. And for me, financially, for us, I'm like, why am I paying thousands of £1,000s for somebody to raise my children? I wasn't happy with what I was seeing. I said, you know what? And I've always said, if I have kids, we've all discussed it, I want to raise my kids. And that was always our discussion before we had kids, before we got married. So it worked well for us, and it suits our family, it suits us, and it's for us financially, it's fine. So, but I'm a busy. I can't sit in one place. I'm always busy. So my sewing I'm doing now, that's kept me sane because I can't sit in one place. It's just I can't sit there and watch TV. I don't know if I watch TV. I don't. I'm always doing something, and my sewing just throughout lockdown saved my life. Really, literally saved me because I'm a busy person. Not doing anything, I can't do that. I can't. I have to be busy doing things. So although I'm a stay-at-home mum, I'm constantly on the go. I don't even rest. I'm on the go. When the babies were born, we were out and about. I was never at home. In the buggy, we're out. We're doing things. So that's how I've always been. And the poor boys, they can't.
I'm looking at the panelists, and I have to say, we are all grafters as women.
Yeah.
Me getting to know, Ngozi, my sister that I've grown up with, I know she's hardworking. I know all the different things, her side hustles and things like that, as well as her work. That's one. G, I know was it the flat pack business as well?
Yeah.
Esther, I've known you for years, and I know there's always something going on. And the latest venture now, which is
I've got so many degrees and qualifications, I don't know what to do with now. For the past 10 years, you just piled up high. So my CV is looking good, though, I must say.
That's good.
My CV is looking very nice, to be honest with you. So when I'm ready to go back to work, I'm sorted.
You're more than ready, exactly.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm sort of the same as well. Everyone's always like, Dee, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
Like, what's this next qualification, or this business you've started, or blah, blah, blah. I'm always, it's something, I think it's us in us as, this is where I think even the culture comes in.
100%.
We can't just sit back and just say, I'm a wife. We always have to have, as much as we're wife and mother, there's always something as well, because we know that the 9 to 5 very much isn't going to be enough to sustain. So we always feel like we need to do a bit more. But I am going to sort of stop us there. I've had a wonderful evening talking to these lovely ladies on the panel, G, Esther and Ngozi. Today we've been talking about women's issues. There's still a lot more we can talk about. There is, I've actually got a long sheet, but I have to be conscious of time as well. Hopefully we maybe might have another women's issue, another women's talk coming in the near future. But what I wanted to say to those listening, if you could please subscribe, hit the notification, like the video, log on to Spotify if you're not a fan of watching beautiful ladies. You can hear us on Spotify as well. So while you're doing your housework, or you're working in the office, or while you're at lunch, you can also listen to our podcast. But thank you for tuning in this evening. This is us with our fantastic ladies tonight. And we wanted to say that we have arrived, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.